Oh, hey there. You know what I'm noticing in patterns in this community, and I'm sure there are other places. I'm just specifically measuring for this right now because I have a lot of skill sets to introduce myself as a newcomer and to also find out what's happening with service providers that are supposed to be supporting me as a newcomer and as a job seeker and as a person seeking shelter and basic services that my taxpayers pay. Except they want the taxes to come directly from let's say property in their community. It doesn't count if it's provincial taxes or federal taxes, which is kind of a contradiction. Uh, it's all it should be that if only the local ones count and only associated to a house, which is it's a form of discrimination, then it should only come from there. That means don't accept provincial taxes on top of that or federal taxes on top of that, right? It's a money laundering scheme that you pick and choose from to discriminate against me. So why is it more and more apparent, well, to an Homo sapien, that conflict of interest is used more and more as a term? And if it's defined properly, you'll find that there isn't one. And if they provide policy when you insist, you'll find they're interpreting it in their intellectual laziness, HSD, path of least resistance, them surviving one day at a time with the least amount of stress possible, which is not related to what they're being paid to do in these postings where they will call that card. Like, let's say at Work BC, I've offered to give a free workshop to refresh my skills that are rusty as a life skills coach and provide a lesson that is appropriate, let's say, to other job seekers while I practice offering them as somebody that wants to be self employed in this field, which falls under their services for them to support me in. Then it's kind of weird, that I'm not getting paid. I could provide criminal record checks, references, diplomas, that I've done this before, that this is one of my expertise. And of course, they could read the literature and see this would benefit the clients they serve, they get paid to serve. And they could come, right? They don't leave me alone in a room if they're worried with their paranoia, as if I'm the one with mental illness. And then they can actually, learn from this, or even pretend like they're guiding me along. Although, I would ask them to co-facilitate if they give me a chance to show them the material and how they could support me beforehand. But no, it's a conflict of interest. Things like liability. I don't liability like this is my expertise. So how come? Is it because I don't wear a suit or I don't show up in a fancy Porsche? Like the logic is not there. So it's very, very strange. It's also very strange how the concept of advocacy is totally misunderstood. For example, let's say an MLA that I'm in the jurisdiction for a long time and had some fairly welcoming staff there, and there's they don't want to take on too many things at once. Although let's say many of the concerns fall under the same ministry that they'd be contacting, and I say, well, does the MLA even know me? Have they participated in this? And they think there's like some sort of conflict of interest, or that that the MLA would be giving me preferential treatment. Well, I don't see how. For example, if the ministry that already failed, and I've documented with them how they failed, like how is it giving me preferential treatment? Is it because it's failing most British Columbians, this ministry, or like I don't know what it is. And also, let's say this ministry refuses me and they call a policy for why they refuse my request, but they also at the same time broke one of their policies. They don't mention, let's say, how long they are allowed to take before they answer like an emergency service request. Then can you even trust that they are manipulating the policy in their way when they've already broken a policy and they're trying to catch up, by doing triage with us? Because the more they fail over the years, the more that's their only approach now. So how is this, let's say, preferential treatment? And how is it that I'm the only one that sees that MLAs help facilitate these failures if they don't advocate with more force? Because in the meantime, who's not, co-conspirator in violating my human rights, and who is not also blocking this reality that a culture repair wants to teach people how not to keep failing at this? And there's a lot of ways to fix this. but you have to care about other people. And people that work in advocacy don't seem to prioritize this. They prioritize only minimizing the stress of their day while creating more stress for future days. So for me, this is like what a socially underdeveloped creature would do.